Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Sorry for the lack of the music. And I am super excited for today. We have something a little bit different. Hang on, I am hearing myself played back. Hang on. I have too many tabs open. There we go. I had my stream open in another tab, and that was all right. So yeah, things are a little bit different today. I'm bringing on a special guest today. So we have Tommy Callaway joining with us in a minute. He will be here shortly. But for now, go ahead and let me know where you're all joining from. I see we have a bunch of people in the chat already. So I will put up the map. And oh, that's not the map. That's my Chromecast background. There we go. Say something in the chat when you are have joined, and let us know where you are joining from. See, we got a good European contingent again. Nice Sunday evening activity. Seeing some new faces in here as well as some familiar faces. So thank you all for joining. If this is your first time joining, then this is going to be probably a bit different than what I normally do, but should be a lot of fun. Still going to be a Q&A stream, so happy to just answer questions in the chat. If you do have questions for me, please make sure you mention my full name in the chat, and that makes it a lot easier to see your message on my screen that I'm using. And all right, so I'm going to leave this up for a few more minutes. We've got a lot of people here. So what's on the agenda today? We've got, I'm going to talk about how I've got my setup here so that I can bring in a remote guest. We're going to introduce Tommy in a second, and we are going to answer questions about lighting. Tommy's channel is focused on lighting, and he knows a lot about lighting and has tons of fun playing around with lights and doing super awesome things. So happy to have Tommy answer those questions, and of course, we'll be answering questions about live streaming since we've both been doing a fair amount of that as well. Tommy has been doing some late night live streams that I've only caught some of because they're usually past my bedtime. So, okay, with that said, let's go ahead and bring Tommy in, and I should be able to do that with this button. All right, Tommy, you are live.
How's it going, everybody? My name's Tommy.
Tell us about your channel.
Someone's saying echo in the chat there, so I don't know if that's me or you. Can you hear me?
I think it stopped. I had it. Okay, cool. I had it. I can't.
Echo gone now.
I have too many headphones. Great. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So my name's Tommy Callaway. I do camera stuff on YouTube and mainly lights. I found Aaron actually when I was looking through some how to live stream basically, because I never did it before, and he's got like a million videos on it. So that's how I kind of started learning how to do all this ATEM Mini stuff. He's super smart dude, and we became friends through Twitter and YouTube, just like every other creator these days, because we certainly didn't meet because we're social distancing. But yeah, I guess that's kind of I'm not very good at these things.
No worries. I mean, we're just gonna hang out and chat and take a look at the
no
questions.
Whiskey tonight, Tommy. Well, it's the morning, so 10 a.m. Kind of a strange time for whiskey. 10 a.m. on Sunday. Oh no, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Whatever. No whiskey this morning.
Yep. And I am, of course, using my new browser plugin version of the chat thing. So super excited that I got that done finally. I was using a sort of hacky version of dropping in custom CSS and stuff. So I packaged it up into a browser extension so anybody can just sort of do that now without having to worry about the code behind it.
I downloaded your plugin.
Nice.
Actually, I have it up on the screen. I use the pop-out chat from your YouTube, and then I see the big clear button, So.
Yep. Oh yeah. That's the only. I need an on-off button so that when you're watching somebody else's chat, it doesn't sort of take over.
I changed my
There we go.
Oh yeah, there we go. So you can see the whole setup that I've got going here. Yeah, I got the Nova there, so we can talk about that a little bit. It's a fun light. Yeah, there we go.
I like the close up on the ATEM Mini. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is about live streaming, right? So I had to get instead of that, but then I had to get a shot of how that's set up. So then there's the camera there.
You got some good angles. So yeah, let's talk about your setup. What kind of lights do you have going on there to get this look?
So man, it's just like my regular live streams.
Yeah.
So today I've got generally when I just zap into someone else's live stream, I just turn on my overhead light here, which is the Intellytech LC-120, which is a 3x1 soft panel that I have kind of mounted to my wall because it's a lightweight canvas style light. And then I've got this one here, which is the Ledgo or Ledgo Altatube ADC. It's their smallest Altatube series, but it's also it's super bright. I'm actually editing the video on that one right now. And then I needed a hair light just before we started this stream, and so I just threw this thing up there. So I have a mic stand this just above me, and then this thing has magnets on it. So there we go. There's that one. And then over here, I've got the Nova, just to kind of outline itself, with a little green hue over there. We have the Came TV Boltzen Andromeda Slim Tube, which is doing the purple, which has this little kind of silly looking remote, but that's what's doing the purple back there. And then we have the Aputure 120D Mark II. I'll turn that off. That's doing, actually, I moved the thing that it was highlighting, so it's not really doing anything right now. It's just on to waste electricity, I suppose. Yeah, that's kind of the setup that I've got on. Oh, and the Lupo Superpanel Full Color 60 with a grid attached is behind me over here. Slide it into frame. It's back there. But that's giving me this side kind of rim light area over here. Yeah. So those are the lights that I have turned on right now.
That's awesome. That's quite a handful. So
yeah, I just kind of leave them all on all the time just in case something like this pops up.
Yeah, it's a good setup. That's a good setup.
What lights are you using?
So I've got here. Get back to let me switch over to that view. Most of this is the same as my normal. This is a 1x2 panel up here, which is doing most of the work on my face. And now the lighting you see is basically my computer glow. And then I've got back there is actually the light that I use for filming videos at this other desk. So like my other set is shot this way. And that is what is that one? That's the, it's the one that New Layer loves. He recommended it. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking.
Is it a COB type light?
Yeah. It's like the...
Sokani?
No, not... No, it's
Godox?
one of the
Aputure?
Godox SL50, I think.
SL60W?
60. And the Mark II, which is super quiet.
Oh, good, yeah.
It's like dead silent. I can't hear it. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. I haven't watched that one yet. Yeah, so that one's my normal like main light for the videos at that set. And then I've got... Actually, that's it here. If I turn that one off, I lose the little hair. Oh, there is one more. I see it now.
You got a practical.
It's actually the lamp back there, but then lighting up that wall is a light that's right next to me, which is a GVM, really cheap GVM light. And it's just got a little grid on it, and it is pointed at that back wall. So that's a new one for this set. I don't normally have it there, but I was using it as a rim light at my other set. So nice. I just left it there, and I was like, oh, well, it's going to light up that back wall, so that's fine.
So people have some questions. I don't know what your policy is on going through the chat, but...
Yeah, I usually start at the top, but we can do whatever.
Okay, I know someone said, what suggestions do I have for you on your current lighting setup?
I like it.
And what I think is interesting is what you've done there with your outline. So you have on the left side of the frame here,
Missing the light.
it's lit behind you, but then like your shoulder is dark, and on the other side, the background is dark and your shoulder is lit. So it's like a split lighting kind of.
Oh yeah.
So that works really well. The only thing that I would say is actually what I did before we started this stream is a hair light. Is a small light kind of above you to outline your skull from fading
More
into
on
black.
the top, huh?
Yeah.
Right, because that
That's
one's
the only
sort
thing
of
I might add, but I think your
on
lighting
the
is great.
side here. Cool. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Normally in the streams, I have this light. Let me see if I can get my other. I don't think I can get my other camera in that shot. Yeah, I can. There we go. So normally I have that light up here being my rim light, and it's on the other side of the room. But it's I didn't want to rearrange everything because I have to go shoot something again later in this setup.
Your setup looks like a real command center over there.
Oh yeah, it's a little much. It's not like I would like it to be a little bit more like, I don't know, sleek, but this is the my dual monitor setup where one's my computer monitor, the other is my ATEM monitor,
So
and
you
then
have two ATEMs though.
yes,
Are you using them both?
I am. So we can talk about that because that's actually relevant to how we're doing this interview right now.
Very interesting.
So this is what I've got on my screen right now is we're using, you can kind of see it on my screen, we're using Ecamm Live to do this back and forth where we can talk to each other. And so I sent Tommy an Ecamm Live link before we started, and he's brought in as a guest, which means he shows up as a video source now in my Ecamm switcher. So, however, I still want to run the show from my ATEM because I like having the macros and the way that the chat works and all that. I like that setup in the ATEM. So I still have the ATEM streaming. This is the one that's streaming, and you can see on my multi-view here, this is the multi-view from that ATEM. I've got my main camera, I've got the chat for the overlay, then I've got this one, which is the new one here, and this is actually a output from my computer. And what that does is it means that Ecamm is outputting the program feed over that output. So Ecamm's output shows up here, and you can't really see, but Tommy's up in the corner there. Like if I switch angles here, now you can see on my multi-view, right? That's from my computer. And this one is the other ATEM in the back. And right now I'm looking at the multi-view from that because I'm not using it for anything. But if I were to, for example, switch to my other camera. Okay, that's my main ATEM. That's the streaming one. The problem is that if I were to plug my computer into this over USB, and if I were sending Ecamm, the program out of my ATEM, we would end up in a feedback loop, both audio and video.
My face is over your face right now. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'll switch back to this one. So if we were, or here, I'll put you over there. Now we're talking to each other. So if I were to use this ATEM that I'm streaming from as the input to Ecamm, then you would be seeing the program feed from the ATEM that I'm streaming and hearing it over Ecamm, and we would end up in a feedback loop. And that would
Your setup is so extra.
Yeah. So instead, I have to have a separate ATEM just for being a input into Ecamm. And that's what that second one's doing. And I have my camera split into both. So my camera features up in both.
How long did it take you to figure this all out?
I mean, a lot of streams every week over a long period of time. So, every week I change something. And now I'm changing this. So yeah, it's a bit much. It doesn't actually need to be an ATEM for this to work. Like I could have used a generic USB capture card, but because it's an ATEM, I can now do this, right, and switch camera angles that you're seeing into Ecamm.
And then you have another multi-view out like behind you.
Oh yeah, so that's because I stole that from you, right? That's I got that idea from you where I liked having the multi-view in the shot, but I need to see a multi-view obviously still. So that's just actually wireless HDMI using the Hollyland Mars, the new 300.
Trick.
What's that?
That's such a good trick.
Yes. So yours though is entirely wireless.
Yeah, no, this is great. I love this whole setup. Yeah, I'm just going to do this because I have to flex some live stream tech on
there
your
we
live
go.
stream stuff, right?
I like
there
it. Yep. Yeah. So this is not well mounted. Like you can see, I've got these ugly wires, so I need to still figure this out. This just came today, this rolling stand. It's like a little iPad stand. No, it's like a cheapo one. It's like a cheap iPad specifically, and this is a little flat panel monitor, not like a real monitor.
Nice.
So
looks good,
it works.
Though.
It works for this. Yeah.
Really nice.
All right.
So
let's take a look at the chat since we've been blabbering on for a while.
Yeah, I'll let you guide the chat because I don't want to take over your stream, and I know there's a lot of questions for everybody.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to scroll back up to where we left off. Oh, this is a question for you, Tommy. Have you considered creating paid lighting courses like Curtis Judd does for audio? I know
I've
people would
considered
pay.
it.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to. Yeah, I don't have the time to produce those types of courses yet. So if I had more time, I would definitely do it. Right now, the only time that I have is to occasionally show up on other people's streams like this, produce, try and do one video a week, and my live streams on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Pacific. That's where people just ask questions. I talk about lights. Other than that, anything that I can do is just it's on my channel for free.
Yep, fair enough. It is a lot of work creating a course. It is definitely a lot. I'm actually in the middle of creating a course for my programming work, my OAuth work, and that is it's a lot of work. That's why I'm all set up to shoot over here. All right. What headphones are you using?
These were sent to me from B&H. These are the Sanel SMH 1200. They're comfy, and I actually switched off of. So the ones that I usually use when I sit and work and stuff are the HD 6XX or basically Sennheiser X 650s, HD 650s. But this was like a ripoff from Massdrop, so I got them for like $200. These are significantly cheaper. They're just studio monitors, but I needed to switch onto these instead because they're not open ear headphones. These ones are open ear headphones, meaning you can hear what's happening outside, and also they leak noise. So if I was talking in through open ear headphones, we get a lot of echo. So that's why I'm using closed ear headphones on this stream. But anyways, these are from Sanel. These are Sanel from B&H. I think they're like $100.
Hey, this is a good question. What does a hair light do? What feature does it add?
Well, it illuminates your hair. Hair is generally not thought about in a shot. Like you got the backlight and the rim light, and you got your key light and background lights. But a hair light is just a little light that's sort of kind of above you and illuminates your hair and just kind of adds a little something to a shot that you don't really notice. Like if you're trying to identify the lights that were used, but it just adds a little bit of, that looks really good. I'm not sure what the difference is. I mean, I'll turn this one off real quick. And see how my hair is just a lot dark now. It just fades into black. But
yeah, a lot less detail.
But now it's like, oh, there we are. But now you can just kind of see the detail. It just looks like my camera leveled up in HD, just a little teeny bit. That's something I kind of harp on a lot. Is you could buy a new camera, but it's not going to make your videos look better. You should just get some lights.
Yeah. That's people always ask what camera I'm using for this stream because it looks so sharp, but it's like not an expensive camera at all. It's the Lumix G7. It's like $500, and the reason is because the lighting is like I've got like the background separation and good lighting in here, and I'm well lit. Apparently I need a hair light, but we'll solve that soon.
Yeah, I'm using the GH5 for this one over here.
Nice.
Lumix with the live stream cams, right?
Yeah, no, they're good. Okay, here's a good question for you. Our band records video in a room that used to be a fitness room and has mirrored walls in the back. Any lighting suggestions when the walls behind performers are mirrored?
Overhead lighting. Yeah, overhead lighting. That's, I suppose, is what I would try and do. If you don't want the lights in the frame, obviously. You could also do like a huge, big like wall of diffusion, like just big sheets, and then light those up. And then it wouldn't look as much like lights as it would just be like some randomly illuminated wall, maybe a diffused window of some kind. I don't know. I've never personally lit a room like that. Most of my videos are in this little studio. So I'm not going to try and speak out of experience because I don't have any doing that.
Fair enough. That's good tips, though. Rick says, can you make a dedicated video how to do this guest setup? I'm a little bit confused. Yeah, I'm a little confused, too, honestly. Like, there's a lot of wires here. And one of the I need to be able to coordinate Tommy switching his angles and me switching these views. There we go.
Deep thoughts in live streaming.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, there's a lot of wires here, and I actually just had to reconfigure a bunch before this as well. And I am interested in making it easier to reconfigure my desk wiring here. So I got a HDMI matrix, which I'm super excited to try out. It's an 8x8 matrix, which means I can just assign, there's 8 inputs, 8 outputs, and you can just internally reassign what goes where. So any combination of them. And the idea is that because like, yeah, it's super weird. So the idea is that like, when I use this desk for my workshops that I teach, I have both monitors as computer monitors, where I don't need a giant multi-view because I have this multi-view down here, which is big enough to see what I'm sending out to Zoom. And then I actually want a full like slides over here and like coding over here. So I want to be able to reassign that monitor without having to yank all the cables out, right? And then I've got like this Hollyland transmitter that I plug in for this to send the video back to the multi-view back there. So I had to redo all those wires. So my thought is, if I can put it all into a matrix, then I can just create these scenes, these like presets, and reassign everything as I need to, so that I'm not going to use it like to switch a show live, but I would use it to switch between like this mode and then my instruction mode, my teaching mode. So, but yeah, this is a complicated setup, and I think it's working pretty well, although I'm seeing some people talking about some audio delay issues. So I want to nail that down, and then I will do a video on it. This is the first time I have used the setup live, so this is a giant experiment. Yeah, it is, I think, working reasonably well. This is some people have been saying that the guest audio does not seem to be synced, and what could be causing that. And it's really interesting because actually you should let us know, are we both out of sync in this view, or is it just Tommy that's out of sync?
Maybe it's me. I can switch off of my Mix Pre 3 and then move on to the ATEM Mini and see if that changes things. So the signal.
I think that may have fixed it, because now I'm seeing a delay in you, which I think is correct.
No, I didn't change anything.
You didn't change anything?
Nope.
Okay, only Tommy, people are saying. Go ahead and switch over then. Let's see if that changes.
How's that? Is that better?
It looks the same to me. I think it's actually like a significant, more than like a few frames delay. So the reason I'm saying that is because if I switch over to these headphones, which are monitoring what I'm sending to YouTube, go ahead and say something.
Test 1, 2, bah.
It's too complicated listening to both.
Too complicated. All right. I think I can fix this. Hang on. I think I know what the issue is. Delay.
People are saying it's better now.
Is it best now? Is that the best?
Better, yeah, better for sure. Okay.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I just so every time I unplug my ATEM Mini Pro and then re-plug it back in, and then pull in the Mix Pre 3 into mic 1 of the ATEM Mini Pro, then I need to like reset the delay. It's kind of annoying. Still out of sync.
You should be able to. Yeah. So I think this is actually maybe on my end, and the reason I say that is because I'm listening to you in my headphones from my computer, and and I'm seeing you in sync on eCam, but that's not what is going into the stream, right? Because the eCam is pulling from my HDMI out, so it could be that my computer is sending a delayed video signal.
Here, I'm gonna try and delay it 8 frames now. See if that fixes it. Like maximum delay. Is that better, guys? Test 1, 2. Talking. Blah blah blah. No. Okay.
No.
Cool. All right. Yes, well, I'm just gonna go. Oh,
yes,
someone says
good.
Yes.
Okay.
Now.
Very inconsistent.
Better. Okay. Well, I'll just leave that huge delay on.
I think now my headphone monitor is too loud and it's distracting me. I think we're gonna have to sort of debug this offline, because there's so many different parts to this audio chain that it could be anything. It's not necessarily just the normal like camera delay that you can compensate for by adding
I think we're good. We can kind of move on. Improved is better than perfect at the moment. I agree with the chat.
Video boombox is pretty sweet. So what is that monitor that you're using?
That is the Osee OSEE monitor. It's the 15.6 LCMA monitor. It's basically I think they're going to run a sale on it next week for 30% off or something like that. So it's usually about $1,100. I think for the next week or so it'll be like $750, something around there. It's not a wireless monitor. It's only wireless because I added the feed through the Mars 300, and I'm powering it with the thing I like about the monitor is it comes with a V-mount plate, the whole kit. So I can power it with a V-mount battery. I like to power everything with V-mount. And the monitor itself...
Speaking of batteries, one of mine just died.
There you go. So I like this monitor because it has the plate, and it comes with a cheese plate. And so I can plug in the V-mount battery, and then it's got a USB out port to actually power the Mars 300 Pro. So it's just one battery to turn it on. So right now it's on. To turn it off, just do that.
That battery has a USB out?
No, it does too, but I don't need the battery.
Wait, the monitor has USB out
of the battery. Yeah. So it powers the Mars device with nothing else. So just plug the battery in, and then it turns on and syncs up and plays. Just take a second.
Just a second. There it goes. Hollyland linking. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I got to mute it.
Right.
There you go. And so now it's on.
That's awesome. The USB power out on that is fantastic.
Exactly. That's why I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
It does exactly what I need it to do.
Sweet. All right. Roland wants to know what HD matrix switch did I get. I don't want to mention it yet because I haven't even plugged it in yet, so I have no idea if it's good. But I will let you know if it is any good or not after I've had a chance to use it. It was the cheapest 8 in, 8 out, so we'll see how that goes. Jonas says, why not Streaming Bridge for this? So the Streaming Bridge is the other device I'm interested in. Well, I don't have a Streaming Bridge yet. Nobody has them yet. They're not out yet. But the Raspberry Pi version of the Streaming Bridge, I was thinking about using that since Tommy does have a ATEM Mini Pro. However, I think it's going to take even more troubleshooting to get the audio delay workable in that setup. So I didn't want to waste too much of Tommy's time figuring that out. So I do want to try that setup at some point, though.
Do I also need one of those?
No. So the idea is that I would run the streaming bridge here and give you my IP address, and then you would configure that in your ATEM Mini Pro, streaming to me instead of to YouTube.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The other reason is because we wouldn't be able to do these sorts of layouts as easily because the ATEM... Actually, no, these we can do because it's just picture in picture, but the side-by-side isn't actually very doable with two ATEMs because you have to sort of sit off to the side of one of the shots if you're going to have, if you want this layout. One person has to like be over to the side because it can't actually scale to images.
Oh man, I had to do that. So I brought Jake Sloan onto my live stream a couple Wednesdays ago, and I'd never brought in a guest before, and so like I had a janky laptop set up into the ATEM, whatever. And then I kept on like trying to get his face properly positioned on the screen, but then it would cover his face, and he'd have to like move off to the side, and it was it was fun, but it was a little bit of a disaster.
Yeah, so you've experienced that of having to just...
Yeah. Well, you move to the left, and then you could I was like, just move your camera. Like you don't have to physically move, but
right. Sometimes it's easier to just move instead of moving my camera. Like that thing's bolted in pretty well right now.
So I guess we could talk about some lights. Stuff that's interesting about lighting.
Talk about... I'm trying to see if there's any more lighting questions we can roll off of. Otherwise, so there's some more to talk about hair lights in here. I have no hair. Do I still need a hair light?
Yes. Call it a dome light.
I like it. So I have a couple other lights in here that I don't have on right now, but I was kind of curious to experiment with them while I've got you here. And maybe you can tell me what I can do with them that makes them look a little better. So this is two of the little Aputure MCs. Now we got one on each side. They're kind of, one's over there, one's over here. And then when I turn on my main light, it like, floods out most of the light, but you kind of are left with a hint of it.
Turn off your main light again.
Yeah.
So what's interesting for photos like this, and dramatic video, is so you've got a backlight, a rim light there that's white, right? And that highlights the fact that it's not just like a filter, not just like a saturated Photoshop image. Because
that's a really good point.
And you also have the pink of the light, so it looks a lot better than if you were to turn off the backlight and just have colors. Without
those, this could just as well be an Instagram filter.
People do this, but it just looks like that just looks like you just took like the gradient brush and like whoosh. It doesn't look great, but then you add that back rim light and it looks a lot better.
Right, that makes sense. That's a good tip. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of options for placing this, but I was trying to decide whether it should be like more like a colored... You just smack your mic.
I just hit my eye with the microphone.
Speaking of colored lights, I just saw my light in the background change, and that's because someone was very nice enough to throw a super chat into here.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool. And you programmed your light to change when you get a super chat.
It's all thanks to Philips Hue and If This Then That. Yep. Someone has a super chat. The cool show this week. Thank you very much, Droopy Dog. Thank you for the super chat, and thanks for changing the colors on in the background.
I'm interrupting you. I'm rude.
Go ahead.
I'm going to share an alternative to the Aputure MC that I found recently, because they're sold out all the time, and that's pretty much why. Getting a hold of sometimes.
Speaking of, I should mention, since you say they're sold out all the time, these were actually given to me from DVE Store that has them in stock right now. So if you do want one, there is a link already in the description. So thank you to DVE Store for that, and go take a look at that link. So go ahead.
So this is another little pocket-sized light that I'm also currently editing the review on with Ledgo and stuff. Is the Nanlite Light 5C. They came out with it last week. It's got 8 color LEDs, and then the rest are white. But It's full color. It's got magnets on the back. It doesn't have Sidus Link though. So if you go with the Aputure MC, then you get the advantages of using Sidus Link. This one is app-free ecosystem, but it's like 70, 75 bucks.
So
like
no remote control?
No. So yeah, I'm still...
That is one of the
I've got
cool
my
things
opinions
about
on it, but I'll save those for my video. But
yeah,
it's another RGB solution, and it's got magnets on it, so you can stick it to walls and things.
I like this trend of using magnets.
Yeah, and that's how I rigged up my hair light today with the magnets just on a mic stand. Attached it.
Nice. All right. Yeah, Roland says Aaron is now lit more like Tommy, and Tommy's lit more like Aaron. Yeah, I normally don't do the dramatic colors.
That wave lighting stuff.
I'll bring my main light back in here.
Is that better?
There we go.
Some drama.
Yeah. This is a good question. What 2 or 3 minimal lights does Tommy recommend how to get started, but with something that you won't feel is garbage when you start to level up? I like it. Because yeah, that is the problem of like buying too cheap of gear at the beginning. Then you just hate it later. And you're like, what? This was crap. This was a waste of money. So yeah, what can you get that's like affordable, but you're not going to hate later?
That is a good question. I wanted that light to be back on there. First off, it depends what you're lighting. So there's so many different things to consider when you're buying a light. Do you need to be portable? So do you need battery power options? So if you do go with a battery powered option, you're going to want to use a battery that can be used on other lights too, because I know some companies have their proprietary batteries that go with it. Don't ever get any of those kind of lights. You want a light that's powered by V-mount batteries. And if you don't want to have to get a special adapter or high power V-mount battery, you need to make sure it's like the 14.8 volt V-mount battery voltage. Because the Aputure Nova, while I love it, I can't use my regular V-mount batteries on it until I get an adapter that will convert 2 V-mount batteries into a 28 volt battery system, or get a super high power or high voltage V-mount battery. And I don't have one of those. So right now the Aputure Nova is plugged into the wall. But if you don't need battery power, and also NPF batteries, I just don't like them. I feel like they die faster, like they break, and they're harder to take in and out of some slots. So I don't like NPF batteries, though they work. I prefer anything that's V-mount battery. Seems like they last longer and they're better overall. But if you don't need battery power, and that's not a concern for you, then there's, how bright does the light get? What kind of light is it? Is it a panel light? Is it diffused? Do you need to buy separate diffusion? What accessories are available? Does it have a Bowens mount? Can you use all kinds of different Bowens mount accessories? What quality of output are you getting? Is it, is it high CRI, TLCI, SSI? A lot of companies will only advertise the CRI as being, 95 plus, but that's not great anymore. You can fake CRI, get a high CRI, but have really poor color quality in terms of TLCI and SSI. TLCI is a better thing to look for. SSI is the best. SSI stands for Spectral Similarity Index. There's a whole rabbit hole of information to go down and learn about, but really you just want to see, is it a good quality light? And is it a bicolor light? So are you going to be filming in daylight, or are you going to be filming in tungsten, or both? If it's only RGBW and not RGBWW or RGBAW or TW, whatever acronyms they use, 5 letters, that means it's only got one white chip. So if you're filming in daylight, maybe it'll have good color quality, but if you go down to tungsten, it's going to have poor color quality because it's going to be simulating tungsten with the red and the green LEDs, and the color quality is going to then be very poor. Now, there's so much information to go through with lighting, which is kind of why I've reviewed so many of them. Build quality, longevity, price, weight. You can't, if you get a really heavy light, probably not going to want to put it over an actor's head or your own head for safety. If you're going portable, how weather resistant is it? Can it get wet? Does it have a fan? Is the fan loud? Are you also trying to record audio? Are the fans interfering with your audio? Do you then need to process out that fan noise? Is that adding more stress to your production? So going into what light can I get that is not going to bother me later, it's going to be a difficult question. It's depending on what you're trying to do with your lights. The light that I've used pretty much since I've had it was the Aputure 120D Mark I. The only time that I stopped using it was when I rebuilt this studio and just went to an Aputure 120D Mark II. But the Aputure 120D Mark I is still an excellent light that I recommend because it's quieter at 100% power than the 120D Mark II is, because the fan is it's putting out more light. It's taking a little bit more power. It's also, the fan is a little bit noisier in the Mark II series. Small lights, little pocket lights like the Aputure MC. If you're using those, you'll never get tired of them. You can always use those as accent lights, and always, those are great little investments if you just want something to add a splash of color. It's always going to work as a little splash of color. I don't know. It just depends. There's so much to go through.
There's a lot to it for sure, but that's why that there are channels about lighting, because there's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's like
a lot of different aspects.
Here's a good counter to that question, right? What camera can you get that will still work as you grow and not become something that you want to replace with something more expensive? I always try and tell people I think that you should spend as much on lighting as you should on your camera if you want to get the best possible image quality. Your camera has one job. It's got a sensor. And that sensor's job is to record light. So why aren't you spending money on lights?
Right. Yeah, if you don't have any light, the camera is not going to see a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can try and fake it with high ISO, but I mean, the best thing for your camera sensor is more light. So, if you spend money on lights, you're not going to want to replace them. You're probably going to want to use the same lights for, years and years and years and years and years. Your lights are going to last a lot longer than your cameras.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. This is a good question since you mentioned bicolor lights. So if many lights are bicolor, if no other light is to be matched, which one do you want to use?
I prefer daylight personally because I like the way that it looks physically in person. I like white lights. I don't know. It's just like my personal preference. But if you want the best skin tones, tungsten is better because your skin has more red hues and more, tonal in the spectrum curve or whatever. It's got more red. You've got more red in your skin. So if you put tungsten light on it, it's going to make your skin look better.
So this light that I'm using is a bicolor, and if I switch it all the way over, let me get rid of my little apertures.
Yeah, so if you record your face in tungsten, you set your camera's white balance to tungsten, and you put a tungsten light on yourself, it's going to look better than if you do the same thing with daylight 5600 Kelvin.
Got it. So I'm not adjusting the white balance in my camera right now, so you're not really, so you are seeing the overall colors shift. But I get what you're saying is if I did match my camera to the white balance, it'll still look different depending on the color, because of the colors in your skin.
Yep, it'll make it look better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see that really dramatically if you take like a colored piece of paper that's like bright red and then shine red light onto it. You can see it's bright red, but if you shine green light onto it, it looks black because it doesn't reflect. There is no red light to reflect back.
Same concept. It's a tiny shift, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Does this also apply
same
for
thing for African Americans?
Skin?
It's always skin tones is tungsten.
Yeah, it's all in that sort of warm hues, not up in the blues. Now, if we were shooting like those aliens from Star Trek that have blue skin, that would be different.
That's true.
People want to know what the thing is that's moving in your background.
Oh, yeah, that is this camera. Look at that. Look at that shot. Perfect, right? It's got the and then it's gonna focus.
Oh, it's focusing on the light. I see.
Yeah. And so then it goes in here. See that cinematic movement? What an intro. So I've
Nice
got
rack
the Nikon
focus.
Z6 on the Rhino slider, and that's kind of going to go right over here onto the LED Go or Ledgo Altatube ADC, because lighting is awesome. And this is the Honey Crates. So DOP Choice sells grids. Honey Crates also does. Honey Crates are slightly more affordable. It's just a different shape of grid. Yeah, I like that setup.
Nice.
I usually have that going on my live streams.
Yeah, the slider look is really fun. I did it a couple weeks ago after I saw one of your streams on mine, and it was cool. I don't have the as nice of a slider as you though, so I can't like set it up in the same way.
Yeah, the only reason I was able to afford that slider, because I don't derive financial livelihood from my channel at all. So anything that I make from the channel goes into the channel, but that's not my career. Like you, I'm a programmer. So the only reason I was able to get that slider was through sponsorship. And it was, so a company reached out to me and said, hey, we want to, we like your content, and I've used their services, and I was an affiliate for them. And they said, hey, we want to sponsor your video. You have creative freedom. And I said, okay, so I like what you did, but instead, how about you pay double, but only if you really like the content that I produce from it? And they said, okay. And so I made the video, I produced it, and they immediately responded. We loved it. And then basically they ordered the slider and sent it to me. That was only if they loved the video, and it worked. So now I have an awesome Rhino Arc II slider.
That's a great way to do it. I like that of
And,
only paying if you like it.
There's more to it. There's more to it.
Okay.
So the slider was obviously, if you look it up, new with the focus module. Is like $2,700 around there. That took like it was on back order for a month, and so then I went to gearfocus.com and I found the same slider used for $1,900 shipped. And so because the back order was taking too long and I saw a better deal on a used one, we canceled the order, and then they just sent me the amount that it would have costed them. And then I bought it on Gear Focus, the used one, for $1,900, and then I had that extra $800, and that's what I used to buy Photo Joseph's ATEM Mini Pro used.
Very nice.
Don't sleep on used gear.
I love it. Yep. And that was a good purchase for you, right? Your streams have been a lot of fun.
It was Sydney Dongjen. I can never pronounce that guy's last name. Sydney. He's another filmmaker. Dongjen. He was the one selling the Arc II on Gear Focus.
Oh, nice. Yep. I remember seeing when he posted that. I was very tempted.
Yep. Swooped.
Yep. Yep. Oops, I keep resizing my browser window accidentally. All right, what other questions we got here? What
do you suggest for a 4x3 meters square with four talents moving around and two cameras? Let's see. Well, there's Intellytech sells fast frames, which it's a scrim, which is like they have a 6x6 scrim, which just folds out into like a big, huge 6x6 piece of diffusion really fast, really easily, and it's like $300-$400. It also comes with a grid, I guess. So that's what I would recommend. Big giant soft light, blast a bunch of lights into it.
Yep. All right, here's a good one. Ring lights don't make for good eye reflections. Do you have a favorite light to sparkle the eyes? We've been talking about sparkling the hair. What about eyes?
Definitely a laser pointer. I'm just kidding. I kind of like the look of like a tube light, like one long tube. I think that adds an interesting look. I mean, a big soft dome, like a big octagon type soft light. That seems to be the popular thing right now. We get like this big giant like white side pupil going. I guess I don't have a great advice for that. That's generally not the look that I do. But the closer you can get to your softbox, the better it will look, I guess, for the sparkle, for like if you want the big, giant, huge eye light. Otherwise, anything anything that's like, eye level and just kind of reflecting, it'll work.
Yep. I think we're both doing a pretty good job of managing glare with our glasses, which is always a challenge too.
Yeah, the most glare I have right now is from my computer monitor.
Yeah, same.
That's actually an interesting thing. So if you look at me now, I probably am going to get pretty dark. Your computer monitor is a fill light.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to drag this browser over to my other side.
Wait, is that that difference was from the browser window open?
Yep.
That is a dramatic difference.
Here, there. Yeah. Just a fill light, right? You don't need to spend a bunch of money if you got a computer. Now, I was curious about this, and so I measured the CRI, TLCI, SI, and all that stuff of my computer monitors. And Apple's monitors actually have a very poor color quality if you open up Google Chrome and just go to google.com, right? The white FFFFF hex code. But this other LG monitor I have actually has excellent color quality if I was to use it as a light. Not that anybody cares on a live stream, but your computer, you don't need a fill light if you're live streaming in front of a computer like that, because if you just have a plain white tab open on one of your monitors, it will function as a light.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm sometimes finding myself fighting it too, because if I don't want, if I don't want this light on my face, right? I have it because it's coming from the computer monitor, and if I switch to a different tab, right? Like if I'm trying to go for a dramatic, like you can't see what I look like yet, and try and do a reveal, the computer monitor is sort of working against me there.
So I thought about that, and I was thinking like, hey, I want to do this setup. I want the setup to be dialed in, but then as soon as I turn my computer on, everything is going to be, out of whack when I get onto the live stream. So the way to get around that is to turn all your lights up significantly, make it really bright in there, and then throw some ND filters on your camera, or turn the shutter speed way up. That way, your computer monitor will be less intense.
Good point. I like it.
You can also just turn the monitor brightness way down, but that's no fun.
Yep.
Was it Tommy last week said he was going to be listing some lights for sale? Yes.
Yes.
I'm selling some lights. I tried to do it on your forum, but I wasn't high enough level yet.
Oh, I tried to click the Make Tommy Level 4 button. Try it again.
I'm still a noob. Yeah, I'll put a list up there.
Yeah. Link to that forum is in this video description, so take a look there if you want to get some good deals on some lights. What is your favorite light in your setup and why? If you had to pick one.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a couple. I don't care if you said pick one. So I really like the Aputure Nova over there, because it's an amazing value, right? I'm going to do this. I'm switching that up there. Let's do this and zoom in. Manual focus on wait, ready. Did I get it? I think I got it.
Oh, it went a little past it.
Damn it. Sorry. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on your stream.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. There we go.
There we go. All right. So I really like the Aputure Nova because it is an incredible value for the amount of output and color quality you get. Arri sells their Sky Panel, which is RGBW, right? So it's in the tungsten color range. It's not great color quality. The Aputure Nova is RGBWW. So we can do that. So it's got more colors, and it's Arri's Sky Panel is $5,000. The Nova is $1,700. So it's also got more output than the Arri Sky Panel S30 by about a lot. I don't know, 50% more bright. So as far as best value for a light is for sure the Aputure Nova, as well as the the control panel that the controller is removable, so you can mount the light way up high and then have the controller still with you. You don't even have to use Sidus Link, but also it works with Sidus Link, and there's no additional accessory you have to buy to do that, which you do with Ares Sky Panel. So I think Ares Sky Panel is an antiquated piece of ancient technology at this point, but I commend them for kind of starting the race. Aputure has kind of finished it in that regard for that type of light. Now, there are other lights that I really like, in particular Lupo's Superpanel full color series. So I have the full color 60 behind me, and it is about twice as big as the Nova, and it weighs about half as much as the Nova. I guess the 60, it's about 18 pounds. The Nova is like 25 pounds. So as you pay more for a light than what Aputure is offering with the Nova, you start getting into specialized problems they're trying to solve. You need a high quality, high output, full color light that doesn't weigh 1,000,000 pounds. Then you start looking at other options like the Lupo Superpanel full color 60, which is a soft light. It works great. It's got DMX control, so you can integrate it into a DMX network. It's powered with VMAT batteries, so it's portable. It just works really well. But then there's another light, which Velvet makes, which is the Velvet Evo 1, which is, if I had to pick one light that was my favorite full color light so far, all things considered, it might be the Velvet Light Evo 1, because it is rainproof, dustproof, completely silent. There's no fans. Extremely high color quality RGB WW light, and the colors out of that light just look more saturated than any other light that I own. That's an incredible light, but it's also $4,000 to get into that system. So when you're talking about a favorite light, it's difficult to pick one light unless you also outline your own requirements for a type of light.
Sensing a theme here.
Now, if we're talking about pocket lights, are we talking about tube lights? Are we talking about canvas style lights, the roll flex kind of lights? Those are coming out. Those are all waterproof now, especially the new ones from Falcon Eyes. Battery powered lights. Also, Lupo makes the Action Panel full color. The Action Panel full color, which is $700 to $750 full color light, which comes with this nice little cube of diffusion, which is like a translucent piece of plastic, and it comes with a backpack to carry it around, and it's VMAT powered or AC powered. It's not the brightest light in the whole world, but it's plenty for RGB WW if you're trying to light up your backgrounds or your room with color. It also works as a key light. So I've recommended that light to a lot of people, and everyone is always just like amazed with the quality, the build quality, and the lightweightness of that light. So, I mean, picking a favorite light is like picking a favorite camera. It's difficult to just pick one unless you also outline the specifications.
Yeah, fair enough. I have to say, I think I really do like my Aputure 120D, which is at my home studio, not here. So that is just a solid light. Like, I don't have any complaints with it, really. I got like the short softbox so that it's not huge in the room.
For Bowens mount lights, for me still, it's Aputure.
Yep.
The 300X is got to be the nicest Bowens mount light that I own. But I still use two 120D Mark IIs in all of my videos. While I don't talk about them as being, incredible and new and, trend-setting anymore, I still use them all the time because they're the best option for me.
That's why I shoot on the GH5S still, because it's a great camera. It's not the newest, but it's great.
Yeah, and there's not one light that's going to make you a better filmmaker or make you able to tell stories better. There's also not one camera that can do that, except for maybe the Sony A7S III. But I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Learning video production for anyone that's not done it yet, it's a windy road, and it's I thought golf was expensive when I got into that, so there's a lot to learn, a lot to master, but it's rewarding. You always have something to show for it, especially if you're on YouTube.
Yep. All right. Well, we've reached the top of the hour, blabbering on about lights for a good solid hour here. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you everybody in the chat for all the excellent questions, and thanks for the super chats. And with any luck, I'll be back again next week, maybe with another guest, maybe not. We'll see. And go check out Tommy's live stream on Wednesday night Pacific time. So for any of the Australians who normally watch my show, it'll be like middle of the afternoon for you. So super easy to catch that stream. And bring coffee or other beverage to enjoy with Tommy on his stream. Get lit while getting lit. All right, thanks.